Inversion. Okay. Inversion is where you move parts of a sentence into different positions in order to emphasize certain information. Let's begin by looking at a couple of forms of inversion which we won't be dealing with. This one here at the top is fronting. There is already a video on fronting, so if you want to see how this is done, you can look at that video. And this one is conditionals. Okay, so you can check out the conditionals video to learn about this particular type of fronting. Just as an overview though, we have here into the ocean, which is a prepositional phrase with a verb, all of that in front of the subject here, so that's called prepositional phrase plus a verb fronting. And here we have a second conditional, if they were to win, which has been changed to were they to win. So that's inversion. It creates more formality, or makes it more formal. But what we're interested in this particular video is inversion. After negative adverbials. And let's have a look at what we have. Interestingly, the structure that we have within it closely resembles, or is in fact the same as, a question structure. So what we have, did she eat pizza? That could easily be a question. Has anyone eaten? Again, that could be a question. And have I eaten? That could be a question, but only if you had some serious mental memory issues. But it's still a legitimate structure. Now let's have a look at what happens when I put a negative adverbial in front. Seldom. Seldom did she eat pizza. This becomes a statement, a complete statement, meaning that she didn't often eat pizza. Again, let's try the negative adverbial, just never. Never has anyone eaten, and then we could put so, and then say so much. Pizza. And here we could use never again, or never once more. Never have I eaten, and we can maybe say that much pizza. These two sentences are pretty much the same, except for we have anyone and I, but the so and the that is essentially gives you essentially the same meaning. Now let's move to a list of negative adverbials. It's not an exhaustive list. You can see I have etc. at the end here, meaning that there are more. And now we'll look at some limiting adverbials. I would recommend, if you're serious about learning these, that you might stop and copy those down, because it's not a bad list to have. Now let's look at how we use them. If we took rarely, which is here, a limiting adverbial, we see that it has the present perfect following it, if we look at what's in purple there. But that's not the only kind of verb or tense that you can have. Here we have a modal and an infinitive, and then we have past perfect following it. So with some of these adverbials, there's a variety of tenses that will go happily or comfortably behind it. In other cases, there is a preferred tense, and when we look at these ones, when we have barely, hardly, scarcely, and no sooner, they are usually, and of course only usually, used with past perfect, i.e. had. So you might see cases where another tense is used, but we're talking about what's common. Now, if we look at our next word that we're interested in, it's only. Now, only is not categorized, I guess, as a negative adverbial, so it's a bit of a thing in itself. Only is used with time expressions, and the time expression, we obviously have the time word when, but he woke up in hospital. is your time expression. Now, I just noticed a small error with this one. So only when he woke up in hospital did he suspect a problem. And you know that the he is required here, because think about it as a question. Did he suspect a problem? That would be your question, right? So you know that you needed the subject to come after the auxiliary did or do. So let's look now at the next one, and only after losing. So we use after, and then we actually have a gerund or a noun here. So, and then we had the did here, we have the did here, and then we have the subject, and again the subject, and only later. And in this case, we have a be verb instead of a did or do. So, and then subject again. Right. So that's only. Now let's look at another word that's... actually, I might just point out that with these ones, we will most commonly usually use them with the past simple. So commonly used with the past simple. Now, if we go to our next word that we're interested in, we have the word little. Now, little in this case does not mean small, as you're about to find out. So little did he realize a python awaited him, which means he wasn't aware or he didn't know. So he was ignorant to the fact that a python awaited him. And so little takes on an entirely different meaning when you use it like a negative adverbial, or use it as a negative adverbial. The next that we will look at is so or such. So and such. Okay. Now, so and such normally get used with that, and you can see that over here. So I'll just put in brackets with that. Okay, so heartbreaking. This is your adjective. So there's a bit of a special structure with this one, and I'll use pink. So we need an adjective here. Then you get your auxiliary verb there, or be verb in this case. So heartbreaking was the drama. You have your noun, and then you get the that as well. The inversion, of course, is happening here in this piece here, was the drama. Now let's look at another. Such was Tony's influence that he soon controlled most of the illegal drug trade in the east of the city. So again, we've got that being used, but it's slightly different in that we have such was. This is different to how we use so, because with so you have the adjective here. With such you follow it with was, and then whatever it is that you're talking about. So such was, when it's used like this, such with a be verb, it doesn't always have to be was, but it does have to be a be verb. When you have them together like this, it means so great, so big, so powerful. Now let's move down, long way. And what we want to look at here is the word as, used a little differently, used with inversion. So I ate a whole chicken, as did Richard, and this obviously means that Richard also ate a whole chicken. I have eaten a whole chicken, as has Richard, just showing the different tenses that you can use. Have ate was past simple, have eaten. Now this one changes a little. This is I am a chicken, as is Richard. Chicken means coward, or a person who's not brave. So I am a chicken, as is Richard, meaning I'm not brave, and nor is Richard. Richard's not brave either. And let's look at one more. I believe. Now with this one, I believe, as does Richard, that I'm a chicken. This one's different. Here we have a state verb, then a comment off section, as does Richard, that I am a chicken. So I believe that I am a chicken. Now, this is saying that Richard agrees with me. He agrees that I'm a chicken. It does not mean that Richard is also a chicken. So whereas with all these ones, Richard is just the same as I, but in this case, he's just agreeing with me. So he also believes that I'm a chicken. So it's significantly different. And this kind of structure is most common with state verbs here in this position. Now, that is all that we have for inversion with negative adverbials.